Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast. We've got a treat for everyone today. Alongside me, I've got a special guest who I'll get onto, but I've also got my two co-hosts. Angus, I'll start with you. How are you, mate?
Good, very good. Keen to hear about Gerry's trip.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff to get to. Harry, how are you going?
Yes, good, mate, good.
Now, young Harry, you had a biology exam today. How did it go? I'm sure people are dying to know.
Surprisingly well. I didn't do much study, but it was easy, I'd say. But I could have not done well.
Well, you live and die by the sword, don't you? Now, this man doesn't need an introduction. But
so we'll give him one. Yeah.
He's a travel vlogger. Search Gerry's Grand Getaway on Instagram if you're interested in that content. After this weekend, I think he's an undisputed Cowboys #1 fan. He's the skipper of the mighty 8 Wicketeers, and most importantly, he's a member of the Town Family AFL Tipping Comp. Gerry, how are you, mate? Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, boys, gotcha from the other side of the world. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Mate, and isn't it an absolute pleasure for both us and our listeners to be, as I said before, in the presence of the Cowboys' biggest fan.
Which we'll touch on.
Gerry, it's looked a big week, personally.
Mate, huge week. So we got over here Wednesday afternoon, and first night fever hits always. So in the Uber, take me to the cheapest liquor store on the strip. That's where we met our mate. 1.7 litres of Sailor Gerry, who, if they want to come on board as the first official sponsor of Gerry's Grand Getaway or Talk of the Town, I think would be pretty fitting. So we loaded up $300 of alcohol into the Uber, straight to the hotel. And what else do you do when you first night in Vegas, boys? Straight to the battle box. Really set the tone for the week. Straight to the stadium.
Great.
The size of the robots was actually quite impressive. The show itself left a bit to be desired until the main event. It lived up to all the hype you'd see on such channels as 7 Mate, 7 Flicks, 9 Bowl. It really is top tier production.
Oh,
Gerry, I've never heard of that.
What about 9 Gem? Goes a classic.
No, look, it's not that good, fellas. Definitely not that good, but gets around on a 4th string channel.
Oh, mate, 100%. It's so on this pod, a big part of it is going to be obviously talking about NRL and our little Vegas correspondent over there, who's definitely flying the flag for the Cowboys, which we'll get onto. And then as well as some NRL predictions, a little bit of a rundown of the NRL season ahead, and also our thoughts going into the AFL as that starts this weekend as well. Ed, you've had, from a footballing point of view, you've featured on the Cowboys story multiple times with your head signed by a couple of Cowboys players. Fox League then wrote an article about it. So it's been busy. Can you just take us on the journey of how that even happened?
Yeah, mate, sure can. Thursday night, shout out to the Cowboys, great event, the muster. We head to the Venetian, 3-hour drinks package. Fraze was more interested in the buffet package, but the rest of us indulged in the drinks. 4 Jack Daniels and Pepsi at a time, because you didn't want to line up. So
Pepsi Max, I hope.
Peppy Max, always. By the time an hour passed, the boys had all loosened up a fair bit, meeting fellow Cowboys fans, 2 Cowboys legends, Matt Scott, Michael Morgan, Evan Cooper, all in attendance, and we weren't told the team would pop in to say g'day. We fully expected they'd show up, go on stage, clap, go well, couple words and leave. The entire team hung around for about an hour and a half, mingled with fans, signed autographs. Those that weren't playing had a couple of drinks. Fantastic event. Got a bit of signature envy as people got their white Cowboys jerseys signed, and a lot of liquid courage at this point to go up to young Jackson Purdue, vice captain of my Supercoach team this week. That'll be reviewed next week. But anyway, at the time, he was the vice captain. I asked him what he saw in my head, and just that statement alone got a lot of hype and eyes in the event. Jackson thought it was the best thing. Probably the best thing he's done in Vegas, actually, because he's only for 21, so he couldn't go out or drink. So he was more than willing, signed the head, and the cameras came rushing, mate. You know, felt like the biggest scandal that's happened over here while we've been here. He obliged, he put me in a headlock to show off. Do we want to show it off to the audience?
Yeah,
We would
go on.
love to.
Treat them. They deserve it.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's great. It's good stuff.
I'm happy with it.
So, mate, a couple of nice photos together with Jackson, having a chat, and the official media started. The cameras, the videos. And from there, I was like, well, may as well get the rest of the head signed. Went over to co-captain and Toowoomba local, Tommy Dearden, who was quite confused, actually, at the request. Thought he was going to knock me back, like Coach Todd Payton did earlier. But
Oh, it's exactly
Tommy
why he shouldn't be
carefully-
coach anymore.
I thought as a fellow
I remember-
ballman, he'd be right around it.
Mate, I was quite surprised. We'll dive into why Toddy's under the pump later, but this is one of the reasons, I'd say. But I had Tommy Dearden delicately signed the forehead. Ruben Cotter signed where his glorious mullet flows and mine no longer does. And it was just a great, great night.
Mate,
That's good to hear.
It looked unbelievable. I mean, I remember getting it here and just going, of course. That was just never not happening. You were never going to go to Vegas and it never not be something ridiculous happen on a rugby league level.
Rugby.
Now, then obviously Fox League posts the article where they had been right there and they chatted to you. If I were you, I would have been absolutely filthy. They didn't at least one post a photo or two take a name.
Yeah, so after the Cowboys event, headed out to Fremont Street on the bus. First, great event. And I had front row on the barricade, watched a few of the boys go down. Funnily enough, it was actually after FanFest. We were just waiting to cross the street, waiting for the barricades to open to get to the second Cowboys event. And this journalist just comes up to me, pen and paper. What have you done here? Who's that on your forehead? So, but honestly, that was all within 2 seconds. I didn't think he would get off his notebook. Probably had 15 different things, barely legible on there. So to see that the next day, I think Kalen Ponga would have been stoked to share the headlines with me.
Oh, mate, he's riding off your coattails, I think.
So, no, that was a pleasant surprise, but yeah, what happened in Vegas did not stay in Vegas. I'm sure there'll be brand endorsements, Toyota, Forex, Cowboys generally as a club that'll probably follow, but we'll cross that bridge once we're in the same time zone.
I mean, mate, they've already expressed a heck of a lot of love for G. Sleeper because you were
Twice in the same
heavily
post.
featured on their social media.
They couldn't get it
Yeah,
done
well,
for you, mate.
we did have another Cowboys event pre-game on the Saturday. So I thought I hadn't got the temporary 4-week tattoo at this point. And on the night when I was spurred on by Jack, Mr. Daniels, I did tell a lot of the fans we would get it tattooed. So I didn't want to let that go through. So 2 hours before the event, got the temporary tattoo. It looked shocking, but
It did.
we're probably
looked
the
nothing
youngest
like it.
people. No. Props to the lady at Excalibur. She zoomed in on my forehead picture on her phone and tried to trace that on baking paper to then put it onto the head. So, hell of a job. Hell of a job.
Yeah, you can't fault her effort, that's for sure. I mean,
So
it's one of those things where, like, how many people know Jackson Purdue's signature and can look at Jackson Purdue's signature and go, that looks nothing like Jackson Purdue's signature. It's just because you have the comparison of him literally signing your head and then trying to recreate it. I thought beautiful. That's a beautiful addition to the Cowboys kit to go and watch your team play in Vegas. Really elevated the level. What was the reception of the people around you in your seat while you've got someone's signature on your head?
oh, I wish it was just in the seat that the looks and questions started coming. Walking back through the
Yeah, right.
hotel, walking to the game, lots of strange and puzzled looks, followed by a lot of whispering, murmuring, and, the odd person would ask what happened. You tell them the story, and looks of shock and confusion were probably the main characteristics, I'd say.
Did you ever drop the line to one of them? Well, have you seen the movies from the Hangover trilogy?
No, unfortunately not. Probably left that one on the table, but the reception at the Cowboys event on the Saturday, Gavin Cooper, Cowboys legend, comes up mid-conversation, leaves his convo, saw me walking past and goes, "You did it. You actually got it on there." So
Oh,
he remembered.
that's the validation. Yeah,
that
mate,
is unreal.
that group of Cowboys fans thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And then the same lady who was taking the photos Thursday comes straight over, asked if they could get a photo, get a video. Some of the fellas got a bit camera shy, but, lucky I'd given the head a quick shave. Shout out to Pitbull Gold. They want to come on board as a sponsor. That'd be good too. Nice shave. So when the dome come down to display as the artwork, we're ready to go.
It was certainly something to behold. We'll touch on the rugby league specifics of how the experience was in a second, but I just want to ask how your thoughts on Las Vegas as a tourist has been.
Yeah, look, I'd say this, there's not much chance to experience jet lag. Once you get over it, you learn pretty quick. Daylight hours, it's asleep, and we ended up on the Australian time zone pretty much from night one, which was great to stay in touch with the fellas back home, document the journey. Thursday night after the Cowboys event, we ended up at a club, bit off the strip. Couldn't tell you what it was or where it is. And obviously at that point, tight asses aren't paying for Ubers back off the strip. So set out on foot with confidence. Didn't need maps because we could see the high rises. And for those who've been to Vegas, very deceptive. You think you're close to walking to something and you're a good 8 kilometers away, turns out. And when you don't put maps on, we ended up 8-kilometer trek. We had about 4 Ubers and taxis randomly pull up on our dodgy back streets, asking did we want a lift, pass them by. We went to cut through a car park. There's a wire on top. So we're like, we'll hit a bit of a dead end here. So we had to turn around, and there's a big concrete wall, I'd say 2 meters high, to stop people going on the train tracks. Well, that was the only thing stopping us getting home. So Big Aiden moved into position, gave the shorter boys a bit of leverage over the fence. Bit of a drop on the other side, less than ideal, but over we went. We found a hole, cut through another fence, which got us back towards the strip, and after 3 hours on foot, home sweet home. So that was night one as a tourist in Las
What a
Vegas.
rugby league journey.
I'm sure you've become a bit more familiar with the Vegas surroundings since then.
Yeah, you'd think that, but most of the times we're walking, the cognitive aspect of the collective that I brought with me isn't at its peak, I'd say, Lachlan. Key takeaway, tip for young players. We happened to book the only hotel at the time without knowing with $5 blackjack tables, and being cheapskates ourselves, it's been the perfect addition to our trip. I'm actually here with my brother Andy, but I've barely seen the bloke. He lives on the tables. His emotion and attitude are exactly like this. When we're doing anything that isn't blackjack, when blackjack's mentioned, when we do anything that isn't blackjack, when the tables are mentioned. And one of the key things we've learned, other than the casino always wins, is number 2, sometimes you got to sit at that table for an hour and only play 2 hands to wait for the useless drinks lady to come back around again.
Because you're not paying for a mage yet.
Mate, the amount of money we've lost on the tables, the only saving grace are the strawberry daiquiris with whipped cream. Mate, you best believe we started to tip that bartender to come back more than her 45 minutes that we timed the first time. $1 tip doesn't do the job. $5 tip gets her back in 22 minutes.
And you got to work the floor, don't you, in that scenario?
Mate. So, plenty of lessons on patience, perseverance, and never giving up.
So I guess that's your personal Vegas experience. I think we've touched on a lot there. Moving on to the actual rugby league.
Sorry, can we just quickly hear about the Grand Canyon, the
Oh,
chopper flight
yes,
this
good
morning,
point.
and the range as well?
Yeah, mate, we sure can. So, this was the first morning we've been up before 12 o'clock. 6:15 the bus departed, and we got greeted by what we thought was a security guard when we got to the place. Turned out to be our helicopter pilot. His name was Mad Dog. He was sucking on his vape, grey hair, shaved sides, rocking the mohawk. We learnt a lot about frequencies, other dimensions, and aliens. And our mate Mad Dog, while flying the chopper, was not prone to these ones. Hey guys, look, here's a picture of my grandma. Look, I grew up just over there. Look. Oh, here's a raven stuck on a piece of coral. That really didn't fill us with too much confidence.
No.
But the flight itself, he was quite knowledgeable when he locked in. Into the canyon, Colorado River up the middle. Mate, it's fantastic. Did it a year ago. Did it again because so much to see. It was fantastic. The only way to top that is to come back 3 hours of $5 blackjack with strawberry daiquiris into a Mexican feast and $5 margaritas for lunch. And naturally you go, what's next? Yeah. Put me behind a 50 caliber sniper rifle. Yes, please. So, down to Battlefield Vegas. Sign the waiver. Yeah. No felonies. No drugs. No alcohol today. No, sir. No, sirree. And the boys put together a bit of a package. They had a pistol, SMG, assault rifle, belt
You came
fed
across a
machine gun.
supply drop.
Mate, we did. Supply drop, not too dissimilar to the old Fortnite, which can't get back
any
into.
Minis? Yeah.
No, mate, not much here, but we did get safety goggles and earmuffs, which definitely were needed.
So no Flowberry fizz.
No Flowberry fizz, no.
For the boys.
There's been a bit of that with the fellas, but not at the shooting range. So, mate, it's fantastic. Very different to Australia. They're very relaxed. Guns aren't mounted. They just load them up, show you how to hold it, and pass it over. So, it was fantastic. Flight was Fraser got the automatic belt-fed machine gun and decided to use it as a single-shot rifle to increase his value. It's the most pathetic and appalling thing I've ever had to watch, and I cut the video off after 2 seconds. Disgrace. Andy and Aiden absolutely let fly. I'd be pretty comfortable standing in front of Andy with the gun based off his target, but not Aiden and that farm eye, you know, fellas. So, but
We know.
great experience. The sound and the echo that the 50 cal sniper sets off in the range, it's actually unbelievable. So that was a great day.
Well, Jed, you won't have to shave that head ever again because the sound waves would have blown all the existing hair off.
Mate, that's right. So the canvas is ready to go for future marketing opportunities.
That's awesome. Did you have a shot of the 50 cal?
Yeah, I had two, mate. Did it last time we were here. Loved it. Favourite gun on the range.
How's the shoulder feeling afterwards?
Oh, it is a family-friendly podcast. Can I get the shirt off?
Get it off.
Yeah.
All right. Not too bad. Just one minor mark and a little bit of bruising coming up, but
Yeah.
it's all part of the experience.
Absolutely.
Battle scars.
Now, I might just have
Tell
to
you what,
monitor
Jed, it's
that
looking pretty
scar.
swollen, mate. Or is that just, or are they just
Is
your
that-
muscles, mate?
Oh, where were you pointing to?
I'm sure Jed spent plenty of time in the gym in Vegas.
Absolutely. Jed, I might just have to monitor your bruise for the rest of the episode, if that's all right.
Yeah, we'll get that out before I clock off just to double check.
You got to pay extra for that. So I guess, Jed, we'll move on to the games and the experience as an Australian fan heading to NRL Vegas. One question I think a lot of people have is, what is the local interest like?
Mate, it's, to be honest, pretty underwhelming in general. The atmosphere around the hotels and for the week, I'd say is 99% travelling fans. There are a lot of Cowboys and Bulldogs early on from the NRL. There's fans everywhere, mate.
Wow.
Really?
They're mental.
Easier to get over there. It's a shorter, what would it be, like 9-hour flight, 10-hour flight?
Yeah, 9 to 10 hours. And then as the week progressed, the Knights, Dragons fans, everyone was out in full force. The atmosphere at Fremont Street for the Fan Fest Thursday night, unbelievable. Packed house, everyone there for the same reason, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, in our lobby, you could barely move. Jerseys, hats, pants, just footy fans everywhere. And it was actually unreal, the march to Allegiant Stadium. Just footy fans of every colour jersey, different backgrounds. It was like we're on Caxton Street, blocked out a big road up over the hill to get to Allegiant Stadium. Singing, dancing, drinking. It was unbelievable. Unfortunately, though, not much of that at all was bought into or ever really shared by the locals.
Yeah.
A few would ask about the jerseys. You'd explain it's the rugby. Some didn't even know it was on. And it was advertised everywhere. So, on the whole, it was definitely an experience for fans of the teams or of the game, or blokes just follow the footy and want to do a boys trip.
Did it feel like you were at an NRL game in Australia, but you were just in Vegas?
Once the Super League finished, yes. Got to give a lot of credit to the English fans. The chance and energy they bring is unbelievable. That was definitely where the stadium looked the most full. They all filter out after that, and there's no pass outs in America. So once you leave, that's your ticket done.
True.
So losing them took away a heap of atmosphere for the next two games. Still a strong support in the fan sections for the four NRL clubs, but the stadium actually was quite empty and
Yeah.
pretty flat
It
after
looked
that.
in the second game, the Bulldogs-Dragons game, it looked flat then. It didn't look like there was much happening.
Mate, it was pretty much the English game first, packed house. They stayed for the first half of the Cowboys, then they filtered out. And by the time you got to the Bulldogs, other than their fan sections, it was just scattered around the place.
Yeah. So if you have a ticket for so your ticket gets you into all three games, I assume.
That's correct.
Yeah, right. So would you say it's not doing much for progressing the game into the States because it's purely just your Aussie fans getting around it and your English fans where the game already is? It's not really doing much for expanding it elsewhere.
Yeah, they do a couple of local events, Gus, but for the most part, in terms of interest generated, I know their main thing is to crack the gambling market just because of the population over here. But even that, the general interest is quite low. I couldn't really see how that's going to make a big splash over here.
Yeah.
Now, Gerry, did you see any rugby league biffs while you're over there? Just in the street between a Knights fan and a Cowboys fan, just swinging.
Surely some of the Doggies
Just
fans.
rugby.
No, look, no physical punch-ons, but
No way.
we
Surely
definitely
some
had.
rugby league brawls.
Hey, look, none that we
Bring
saw.
back the biff. They've gone woke.
There was definitely a lot of, for the first couple of days, you see anyone else in a Knights jersey, whether they're having dinner with their family or drinking with mates, walk straight in to interrupt it. Good luck Saturday, champ. You'll need it.
And did they need it, or did you guys lose?
Harry, the thing is, mate, hindsight's great. And at the time, just walk up to random fans and giving them a spray was fantastic. But no punch-ons. Surprisingly well behaved for a rugby league,
In
That's
Vegas
good.
as well.
In
On an
Vegas.
absolute bender.
mate.
It's good to
The game's
see.
growing.
It looked like a really neat stadium. It looked really like sort of new tech. Was it a nice stadium to be in?
Mate, we absolutely loved it. We took the standard behind the post seats, and the end we were at, directly opposite us, two big screens to your left and right, and the actual stadium is fully enclosed. And between the TVs, it was glass panels. So we actually had a view of the Las Vegas Strip out the stadium while watching the
That's
game.
cool. That's
So,
awesome.
cannot complain. As the crowd thinned out, we helped ourselves down to the sideline seats.
Mm-hmm.
Most expensive seats you could get, and we were 2 rows back from the Roosters NRLW coach, John Strange. So,
What?
pretty good
Mate,
seats
how
to
do
watch
you know
the
who that is?
end of that.
Yeah, that's really dribbly.
Sorry, Harry. Dedication, study, research. A few things you might need to look into. Okay?
No, that's awesome. It looked really nice. I was like, this looks like a brand new state of the art sort of a stadium.
Mate, it's good to have the stats up on the screens because it's heaps of space there. They're pretty quick getting everyone through. Service was great. Can't complain at all. The experience for a fan is, top shelf.
Would you say close to a full house at the start, or was there quite a lot of seats spare? It looked
Mate,
on
to start
telly
with,
like there was a lot of seats spare.
yeah, even for that first English game, to start with the whole top tier, didn't look like they sold tickets. It was a skinnier top tier, maybe 10 rows, but it was all like fully shut off. We're the next tier up, and there's scattered seats everywhere. They might have sold 45,000 tickets. Would have shocked me if there's more than 30,000 at one time.
Did they put out any official number?
Yeah, it's 45,178, I think it was.
Where it's,
on my
you're
phone here
skeptical of
from
how
Oz
many of them actually
Stadiums.
made it in the gate.
I've got the number here. It's 45,719.
Is how many tickets they sold or how many they got
That
through
would
the
be
gate?
so called how many people through the gate.
Yeah. How much does that stadium hold? It'd have to be at least like 60, 65.
Hey, do you remember? 65. Yeah, 65,000.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice.
So-
Nice stadium. What was your highlight from the from being there at the actual games? Because we'll get to your highlight of Vegas later on. But what was your highlight of the being at games?
When the Cowboys got level, that's close we got to winning. That was pathetic. No, the ending of the Bulldogs Dragons game. A few people left.
Yeah, that was hectic.
Very tense. Big
Mhm.
passionate build up. Passionate fan bases. The refs with some questionable decisions really
Yeah.
brought the Dragons fans alive. Made for a good 10 minutes for the fellas. Cannot complain.
No, that's unreal.
Well, I guess from your point of view, Jed, as a Cowboys fan, I know the Cowboys lost, but would you say that the Vegas experience as a NRL fan was worth it?
Yeah, 100%. Even if NRL's not your preferred sport, but you follow it along. One of the key things I look back at, $2,500. Flights each way, plus a week accommodation. It's going to cost me that amount to go to the WWE in Perth for a long weekend. When you look at it like that, if you love sport and you want to come experience Vegas, I'd do it again, for sure.
Yeah, that's unreal. Did you just get on the flights really early and get a good deal?
We booked in August. The NRL packages were double what we paid.
Oh, fair income.
We monitored Flight Centre for about a good 6 to 8 weeks. It sort of went up and down from 2.5 to 4 grand. And when it came back down to 2.5, we jumped on it. So, sort of started low, discussed it, looked again, it went up, thought it wasn't worth it. And when it dropped, for the experience we've had, said it was worth it.
Yeah. No, that's unreal.
That's fantastic, Jed. Well, would you say that for the future of rugby league, I don't know how long the Vegas deal is, but I think the go was they wanted to get all teams over there. Do you see it being something that will go past that deal into the future, or do you think this will be a novelty thing and they might try to target other markets?
Yeah, I think once all the teams have had a crack, they will pivot to another potentially international location. Look, Volandi's come out and reckons it turned a profit this year. If so, I guess that's good for the game, but how many fans you'd get back, say, on those first teams, Broncos, Roosters, Manly Rabbits, not sure if they'd keep it up. I think this deal probably see it out.
Was he saying that this was the first year it turned a profit, or had it previously as well?
I think this was the first year, but they didn't expect to turn the profit at all. So,
Wow. 'Cause I find that interesting. Like, you think of the clubs like Bulldogs, Cowboys, Knights, Dragons, and you think of the sets of clubs that have been there, particularly in that first year, because that first year it was basically the most wealthy clubs that went: Broncos, Rabbitohs, Roosters, and the Sea Eagles. Is that right? Was those four?
yeah, and they've all got connections with pretty well-off owners in America. Russell Crowe, Scott Penn, Manly got Hugh Jackman to do a bit for them. So,
Yeah, I remember there was lots of promotional stuff around Vegas. As you probably need it, don't you, in the first year? Like, you need some American recognizable faces to promote it in the hope of capturing some local interest.
yeah, I think the English fans, because they at their game year 2, that's definitely,
Yeah.
and I assume
Yeah.
the NRL's kept that in their profit, because I couldn't see it other.
Yeah.
I also
gotcha.
think it's tried and tested, and so people from fans are happy to go over there. Is this its third year?
Yeah, third year.
Yeah.
And I think, Jed, one last point before we move on to some season predictions. The NRL's flagship event is State of Origin. Do you think one day they would dare to take it over there?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
mate, no.
No.
I don't think so.
Even New Zealand, I think they're passionate enough. They will get around it, but you could not do that over here. Absolutely not.
They're
I mean,
watering it
understanding.
down.
It generates so much money. There'd be a massive outrage. Can you imagine? It'd be
Mate.
huge.
A midweek game in Vegas as well. Terrible time slotting.
That's
Oh,
disrespect.
you'd have to run it like they ran when they. Is there still a State of Origin on a Sunday night, or did they move
No,
it back?
they moved it
Remember
back.
remember they did that? I remember the first time they did it, it was in Perth, and there was uproar even then. Everyone
Yeah.
loves a State of Origin midweek, breaks their week up. Everyone gets passionate about it. You go around to someone's house, have a few beers or drinks, or have Pepsi with your group of friends.
Call in
Well,
sick to work on Thursday.
Don't take that away from the nation.
No, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No. So that's going to wrap up your Vegas preview. We're going to now go on to actually before I do that, Jed, do you have time to do your predictions?
Yeah, if we can fire through them, and I've had a few messages pop up. Looks like the drink service at the $10 table's good tonight. Duty calls.
So we're going to now go on to our predictions, just to run over what our topics for our predictions are. We've got each of us to do some predictions on our top four, our premiers, bold prediction, dark horse, slider, spoon, under pressure, needs a big year, and breakout year. We're going to start with the top four. The top four I've gone with is Panthers, Broncos, Storm, and the Bulldogs rounding out the top four. I feel like the Panthers are going to come back for revenge this year. They didn't miss the mark by much last year. Broncos speak for themselves. And I think the Bulldogs might be able to go a step up if they can get the right blokes playing the right type of football. That's why I've gone with that. Angus, yours?
My top four: Panthers, Storm, Broncos, Roosters. Very vanilla. Looks to be them.
Mine is Panthers, Roosters, Storm, Broncos. Same four teams in a bit of a different order. All pretty self-explanatory.
I went Panthers, Broncos, Eels, and the Dolphins.
It's rogue.
The Dolphins. Can you explain the Dolphins, Jeff?
Fins up.
They've just built such a well-balanced roster. The depth they've got in the forwards, in the backs, there's some blokes that other clubs would be crying out for to have starting or even on their bench. Like, there's a chance Felice Kafusi doesn't make the best 17. He's the club captain. So, like, the big red shed, Tommy Flegler coming back, Isaiah Katoa, another year. The backs, I just think they could make a push. And the Eels, Jason Riles really seems to have bought something there. Moses came back half of last year. And mate, they look like a completely different team. I think a full year hinges on Moses being fit, but I could see them pushing up into that top four with the Dolphins too.
Love it. When you sent that through and I read it, I was like, that's different. Wasn't what I was
bold.
expecting, but you can definitely explain. We'll go with bold prediction now. My bold prediction is the Roosters to miss the 8. The reason I've gone with that is I feel with old teams, you see it a lot across sports. When you have an aging roster, the cliff comes sooner than you think. And when it comes, it is sharp. It may not start looking like they're going to miss the 8, but I think as the year goes on with some tired legs, particularly if they have some guys come in around Origin period, I think it might spell a bit of a tough back end of the year, and we could see them miss the 8. I know they've got DCE, but at some, Father Time catches up to everyone, and he is well and truly into Father Time. So that's my bold prediction. Gus, yours?
Mine is Tigers top 8. Look, they've got to turn good sometime soon. They've got to turn good sometime soon. They've got young Makasini coming in. I like the look of them.
Nice. Harry?
Mine is Rabbitohs make the prelim. I reckon if back end of the year, go into finals with a bit of good honest passion and some momentum. Latrell gets on a roll, and they go late.
Boys, I've got 3 Queensland teams in the top 8. Obviously, I've got the Broncos and Dolphins in my 4, and you go this biased Cowboys fan. It's actually the Titans that are my 3rd team for the top 8.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of false starts, a lot of new dawns, but I don't know. If they play the attacking footy with the halves they've got, I see it. Be like you with the Tigers, Gus. At some point, it's got to get better. So
It's got to flick around.
I'd love to see 3 Queensland teams.
You'll love this, Jeb. And I was making the graphics that our listeners will see go out on social media. After you'd sent yours through, I actually put the Cowboys in instead of the Titans. And then I read it again and went, no, he's intentionally left the Cowboys out of here. And I was thinking about you being absolutely filthy with the performance they dished up yesterday. And on Sunday, and you just going, no, I've had enough of these guys. They're dead to me.
Yeah, look, it was a pretty tough 2 hours post-game. Very bad sport. I normally refer to Johnny Cash hurt after a loss, but had to get back on the horse quickly to keep the mood up. So I've had time to sit on that, and they're not making the 8. So go the Titans.
At least anything more than this, Jed, will be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Moving to the dark horse, I've gone with the Bulldogs. I feel like they've been building their roster really nicely over the last few years. At some point, they've got to take the next step. That's why I've also put them in my top 4. I think they obviously last year had Lockie Galvin come in the way he did from the Tigers, which was an interesting situation for him. They definitely didn't get the best out of him last year. Maybe this year they can. They obviously scraped over the line yesterday against the Dragons, who are not predicted to have a good year. I wonder if yesterday, I thought maybe they struggled a little bit with the smaller sized field. It just looked like in attack, everything looked a bit clunky with how tight some of those edges are with the smaller field. But I think across the season, with the depth that they have and the guys they have in their roster, as always with any of these, we're assuming that they can stay healthy and put a run together. If they can get into the top 4, it's a roll of the dice for anyone. You get the double chance, and I think they're definitely a dark horse that could do something come September. Gus.
I like that, Lachlan. And as Hello Sports said, Dragons dragged them down to their level on Sunday. My dark horse, I mean, Jed pretty much explained it, and that was mine is the Dolphins. Jed did most of the explaining for me. They're a structured rugby league structured side that they built up. So that's my little dark horse.
My dark horse is the Rabbitohs. Like I said, I think they'll make a prelim. If they can stay fit, they can go as far as they really want. Injuries were bad last year. If they can fix that, they'll be fine.
Nice. Yeah, I've gone the Eels, fellas. Mentioned in the top 4, but love the team. Yeah, Iongi's come on well, replacing Gutho. Few big changes, and to do what they did last year, I think it's a next step that they could really shake it up. I would say, though, generally, this is probably the toughest comp to predict in a good 5 years. Doing that top 4, like I've left out Rabbitohs, Roosters, Bulldogs, Storm, all great teams. Manly, Rabbitohs, they can turn on any given day. The Sharkies as well. So, Eels are my dark horse, but it honestly could be anyone.
Yeah, I agree, Jed. It's certainly very congested. There's a lot of teams on the rise, and it doesn't seem to be that many teams that are getting significantly worse. Moving to slider, I've gone with the Roosters. It matches my bold prediction. I'm not going to go into it because I said what I had to say. I just think an aging roster, the cliff might be here, and we might see this year. Gus, yours?
I am going Raiders. Aiton's out in straight sets in the finals. You never know. Weren't they favourites for the Spoon last year? I mean, they did well, but yeah.
I've also gone the Raiders as my slider. They lost a pretty decent player in. I actually forgot his name. Fogarty.
Jamal
Fogarty,
Fogarty.
that's his name. Yeah. They were favourites to win the Spoon. Got on a roll last year. Hard to draw this year. I don't see them going as well.
And chalkery down for a trio of Raiders. How far they slide, I don't know. But from the minor premiership last year, I still think they could get into the 8. But dropping half the ladder, still a slide for me. And if it's anything I learned last year, Ricky Stewart, if you're listening, you'll probably clip this up and use it as motivation. So talk the town as you're sliding. So do with that what you will.
Do with that what you will. The wooden spoon. I'm going with the Dragons here, and I've got a few points as to why. They just give me bad vibes. Really bad vibes. All the way. Their coach is setting the tone with the way that he's spoken in the media. If I'm a player in that group at the moment and I've got my coach saying what he said, I can't remember the exact quote, but he basically just admitted that they weren't going to be anywhere near the top. And while that might be a reality, I supported the Brisbane Lions through the worst period of all time. And our coach has never said that, even though the whole fan base knew it deep down. But to actually put it out in the media is a whole nother thing. I mean, does he make the year? So for that, and their roster just doesn't fill me with much. I know they only lost by a point to the Bulldogs, but again, like Gus said, it felt a bit like the Dogs got dragged down to their level. So I'm going the Dragons.
I am going Titans. Yeah, they're looking pretty healthy for a spoon contention.
I got the Titans in
I've
my
also
prediction.
got Titans.
What's happening here, fella?
Yeah, hence why it's bold,
I can't
Gerry. Hence why it's bold.
Yeah,
I've also gone the Titans for my spoon because they just have always sucked. It's the safest bet. Titans bottom 3 is unbackable every year because it's just going to happen. So
It's a well thought out and
You
balanced
do
argument.
feel like, though, at some point it's got to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to be this year, kid.
Look, I'm happy to be proved wrong. That's the extent of my rugby league knowledge.
Look, for my spoon,
Jetty.
it's a tough thought process. I go, maybe the Dragons, but they actually showed something in Las Vegas. I go, shit, could it be the Cowboys? Whilst the head says probably, heart said, fuck no, put Manly, because they lost DCE, and if Tommy Turbo gets injured, they're fucked. So if that doesn't happen though, yeah, this year, unfortunately, could be down that way. But Lachlan, sorry with you, I might just whip through the rest of my predictions. We've just got the all-important message that the $5 table has freed up.
Yep, absolutely, mate. Rip through them. So you've got
So-
Under Pressure, Needs Big Year, Breakout Year, and the Premier.
Yeah, Under Pressure, Todd Payton. You know, I hate excuses. Excuse one, he said the pen was the wrong type of pen to sign my head after 2 other blokes had already done it. Poor excuse. If you're going to do it, mate, tell me. We value honesty. Nah, just kidding, Todd, but I would have liked that. Speaks for itself. The Cowboys roster is top 8, if not top 4. We've underperformed. If he sees magic around and we have a losing record, I'm not here. Big year. Nico Hines got the Dally M, signed on a heap of fanfare, probably a bit of unfair standards set for him. He's been good without being great, but I think the Sharks have like 12 blokes off contract next year. They got AFB last year. Last year of a premiership window. They had to make the most of this. I think that all starts with Nico Hines. I don't even know if he needs to be the main playmaker, but he needs to stamp his mark 8 or 9 out of 10 every week for the Sharks. Breakout year. Trey Mooney. These are a lot of good signs. Game 1. Rugby league guru. Had him as a CBA for many years at the Raiders, but it's one of the best forward backs in the comp. Never really got a crack down there, and he's gone to the Knights in desperate need of front rowers. A lot of potential. And I think he showed Saturday night for us that he's got the tools to live up to that. So obviously a long season, but big young front rower, great chance. And to close it off for me, Premiers, Panthers. They were last year going into Magic Round. Written off, and they were leading the Broncos in a prelim final. They had a few injury struggles last year, which they haven't had in that 4-in-a-row run. Back bigger, better, and a bit more to play for, I think. First off-season, they haven't lost players to other clubs, and they've had a couple of blokes
That's a great.
signed for 2027. Plenty of motivation to draw on. I think they're in for a big year, and I've got them taking it out.
They're my premier. Just to piggyback back off that, Jed, I just feel like we were there at Suncorp last year, and they controlled that first half, and the second half they just got broncoed, to use a term from last year. They were running over the top of sides left, right, and centre the back end of last year, which obviously we saw in the grand final where they won the premiership. And that's okay. You get beaten by a better side on the day and the better side of the year. But there's just a feeling, I reckon, that there's a fire in the belly ready to go and to go again. And I wouldn't bet against them. You just can't bet against them. So, Jed, we know you got to go. The $5 blackjack table calls. We wish the boys all the best of luck on the table on behalf of the Talk of the Town podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you join. I dare say this will not be your last appearance on this podcast. And I hope all our listeners and viewers have enjoyed the journeys of a NRL fan in Vegas. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, fellas.
Thanks, mate.
Big Aiden signs off
mate.
with
Good
us as
luck.
well.
Thanks, Jerry.
Have a great night, boys.
Cheers.
See you
Thanks,
later.
guys,
Good
mate.
luck.
Bye.
What an absolute treat.
Gosh.
I hope our listeners have enjoyed that as much as we did. Boys, I've already touched on my premier as I said, the Panthers. Gus, your premier.
My premier is Broncos. I think, they did it last year, and Payne Haas isn't exactly going to take it easy this year, I don't reckon, on his last year. So
Also Reynolds last year as well, before they get Jonah Pezzett the following year.
So I don't mind that.
Yeah. Harry?
My premier is also the Broncos. This is losing Payne Haas next year. This is the last time they can really win, I reckon. I don't think they'll win it without Payne Haas. So I think the Brisbane boys will go back to back.
And Walsh, going off the back of last year, Walsh, he's had a little bit of form. So if he can keep that up,
Yeah, I agree.
pick up where he left off, then he's in for a good one.
Yeah. No, I agree. And obviously us being Broncos fans, I dare say we'll be definitely cheering them on. I would love the Broncos to win personally. I just can't.
Yeah.
I felt last year with the way that they finished, it was a little
very
bit
flighty.
Yeah, it was a little bit similar to the Lions when they won the flag in 2024. You were kind of like, they had a lot of guys out and they got up every week and they won the flag the hard way. With the Broncos, you just go, I don't know if you can harness that momentum again and go again in that way. If they go down the route of controlling games, we saw it in the World Club Challenge where they lost to Hull KR, who then got battered in Vegas by Leeds. You kind of go, you can't be dishing that up and expecting to be favourites to win the premiership. As much as I would love it, I just feel like the Panthers do edge them out for me. So we've got our under pressure.
Panthers last year almost went 5 in a row. So
yeah, they did, which is just
they're
ridiculous.
good at it. They're good at getting to that level.
Which is ridiculous. And with a great list to go again and a new... If you don't have fire in the belly to win 5 in a row, which would be understandable, to try and win your belt back after winning it 4 in a row, there's probably something there, especially with Ivan Cleary at the helm and obviously Nathan as well.
The chin. He's playing straight up.
Yep.
No band for the chin. So
Absolutely. Yeah, do like watching the chin, even though he's from New South Wales. Piggybacking on, moving on to under pressure. I've gone with Anthony Seibold. Everything that Jed said fits here. There was points last year where you
especially
felt like
the pen.
no, that was Todd Payton.
Oh, right.
Anthony Seibold, coach of Manly Sea Eagles. I just feel like they haven't really. Jamal Fogarty has come in, yes, but a lot of their year rests on Turbo. I don't think there's a team in the league that's as dependent on someone's individual performances as him, and his hamstrings are made of paper mache. So you just look at his injury history and you go, well, he just hasn't put it on the scoreboard over the last few years. He just hasn't been able to be healthy and play full years. So they've been down for a while and not performing at their level that they should be. So I feel like another year, if it goes that way, I think it could end up with him going. So, yeah, Seibold's mine. Angus?
I have got, Shane Flanagan from the Dragons, just because, look, not a great way to start the season, is it? And also, what a good way to lose your players, to come out and say that sort of about your side. I'm like, at least just have a little bit of hope. And even you with the Lions, like what back in the day, it's like, yeah, we weren't a very good side, but at least you just have a little bit of hope. And yeah, gosh, I even look at it and
this context on the quote we're talking about. I've just searched it up here. It says, "I'd love to say that we're good enough to go with the big dogs this year. We will win a lot of footy games, but I'm realistic."
Yeah. So, I mean, how would you feel like if Fags said that from the Lions? How would Harry and I feel driving 2.5, 3 hours into a game when the coach doesn't even have much hope in us? You'd be going, oh, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, if you don't believe in us, how am I supposed to believe in us?
Especially when they are a few people's spoon favourites. So it's like,
yeah,
I think that's not starting the year off quite right.
I agree.
And some of the heat should be taken off Madge and put on him, can I just say?
Yeah, that's a coach that should not be under any pressure.
Yeah.
Harry, your coach under pressure?
I've gone Todd Payton. Missed finals 3 out of 5 years. Last year, they just could not defend, which is something you can coach. You can coach a bit decent defense. And he couldn't do it. And they've got a good list, and they're underperforming. And an underperforming coach is a coach with his days numbered.
Yep. And I think obviously we've had the Cowboys' #1 fan on who I thought addressed it beautifully. So I'm not sure you would have had much to add to that, Harry. Needs a big year. I've gone with Dylan Brown. I thought he got off to a really good start. Obviously, a win in Vegas to silence some doubters. I thought he had a good performance. The reason why I've put him is if you pay any player that much money on a massive contract, and I know why they did it. There wasn't that many sevens available on the market, and they did need one. However, when you're paying someone that much money, you do not want to get the first year of, I think it was a 10-year deal, off on a bad note. It's a long time to then leave a sour taste in the mouth. And I know, if you apply that to the feeling of watching your own team when you've brought a big recruit in and they don't wow you straight away, it's always one where you go, oh, have we missed the boat here? I remember in 2019 when the Lions brought Lachie Neale in and watching him live in the flesh at the Gabba, he wowed me and it was like, whoa, this guy plays for my football team. He's unbelievable. I know he's on big money, but it's worth it. I just hope that Dylan Brown can live up to, it'll be impossible. You see it in European football all the time. Guys that go on big transfers, it's really hard to live up to that price tag, and it's not their fault. But it'll be interesting to see how he goes this year. I hope he has a good year. And if he has a good year, maybe that means the Knights finish higher than they are predicted, which has been down the bottom. So, Gus, your one?
No, I like that. Needs a big year, and this is even if he has a year at all, Zach Lomax. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, he certainly needs a year and a half. I mean, the NRL's already started, so do you think he's going to get picked up by a team, or is that like a next year thing? Or not at all?
It's obviously all legal stuff at the moment. I think there was reports that came out today that he'd settled his issue, or they were getting ready to settle his issue with the Eels. But the Eels, that doesn't mean he's a guarantee to go to the Storm. I think the Eels are looking to test the open market more, but I think Lomax has an agreement with the Storm, so he kind of wants them, but he wants them, but the Storm aren't going to overpay for him, and so they're going to try and get as much value for a player they can, who's obviously contracted. So that, who knows, that mess could roll on. It could be solved next week, and there's a breakthrough, and everyone's hip hip hooray. I know the Eels do play the Storm in round 1, so you kind of don't know. But yeah, you'd think that once he's on the paddock, you'd like to see him playing some good football.
Well, there's certainly going to be some eyes on him once he puts on a jumper for whatever team it is.
Yeah, it'll be a talking point, won't it?
So that's going to be huge. I'm really interested to see if he gets on, how that goes, and how sort of people and fans take him in, because I work with a Eels fan, and he's like, "Nah, push him, get him out of here. I don't want him." So it'll be interesting.
The thing I find interesting, and I'd like to know if your mate who's an Eels fan has said anything, I find it interesting that they'll hide behind the fact that he had a contract with the Eels, but he also had a contract with the Dragons, and he broke that. And I'm sure the Eels fans were happy to take him when he was breaking a contract with the Dragons. Mate, so I wonder how within a year their tune has well and truly changed because of the delays to R360.
And Eels have also broke contracts with other players before. And so it's like, well, it happens.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But I think there is people wanting the Eels to stand up for themselves. But yeah, it's just, I find it so funny how he can go from the New South Wales winger who couldn't kick a field goal, couldn't kick a conversion to save his life, to then not putting a jumper on at all. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to watch if he comes back.
Absolutely. Harry, needs a big year.
I've gone Lachlan Galvin. Is a bit like, you can ride off last year a touch because he didn't get a preseason with his team, but they pulled him out. They put him into a team that was on an absolute roll, and it seemed to fall apart around him. He's had a full preseason. He's been with the club for probably 9 months now, and their fans would be expecting him to hit the ground running and show them why the club went after him and destroyed their 2025 by the looks of it.
Yeah, they certainly had a really good thing going, and him coming in when he did. I mean, I've always not liked that about the NRL, that players can move mid-season. It just creates so much mess like that, where guys have years where it feels like they just haven't lived or had a chance to live up to their proper potential for that year. And you think about a player, a professional athlete, like say they play for 13 years as an example, like it's a year out of your career where you didn't do your best to strive to your goal. And when I say didn't do your best, I'm sure he was working really hard. It's just that the environment, going into a new environment, it does take time for things to adjust. I think you put that really well, Harry. Our last point is breakout year. So I'm going to go with Ezra Mam. And I know people might look at that and go, well, he's kind of already broken out. Like, he arguably, Broncos win 2023. He's best on ground, and he wins the Clive Churchill. But my reasoning for him is, obviously there's the, horrific circumstances that his own actions caused last year, which ended up being a lengthy suspension, and I'm sure he, and as he's shown, has deeply regretted that. But he was able to come in and play a utility role for the Broncos and positively contribute to his team. I feel like this year, with
we love a utility.
Yep, I feel like with a full preseason, not having the media circus that's gone on, he's had a little bit more stability and calmness. There's also not that looming pressure over the Broncos that, it was 19 years in between premierships. So everything's just a little bit calmer, contrary to the media reports coming out about Madge, etc., which I find ridiculous. But I think Ezra could really hit the ground running, potentially with the upcoming changes to the Broncos, with Ben Hunt potentially entering his last year, Reynolds entering his last year. I know obviously Jonah Pezzett is coming in as well, but I think he could really just work his way into the year and set himself up to potentially take on a starting position next year or throughout the year. I definitely wouldn't rule that out, but I could definitely see him with this newfound consistency having a breakout year.
Yeah. This one is short and sharp from me, and it's purely going off the little snippet I saw in the trial game. But Makasini from the Tigers, everyone's going crazy about him.
No, give the name a full go.
Yeah, give me his full
I'm
name.
not doing that.
Yes.
I'm not doing that.
Hey, Makasini.
1 and 2 or 3 Makasini.
He has been exciting, Gus. I'll give that. And obviously our mate Toby, who's a massive Tigers fan, he is very excited about him. I do find it funny that Tigers fans are stressing that he may not play round 2 because of how inept the club is to pick things and pick the right teams. So we'll see. But he's exciting. Some of those, mate, that game against the Panthers, that trial game, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, so. Gerald?
I've gone David Fafita. It did not work on the Gold Coast. It was on big money. It was just, from the outside, looked lazy. Looked like he didn't want to be there. He's down at the Rabbitohs now. He looks big. He looks fit. And less pressure on him. Not a big contract. He should just be able to get into a role and play some footy.
I think also, Harry, picking off the back, I like that take because he essentially has 12 months before Payne Haas rocks up there next year, where if he can get 12 months of really good footy under his belt and he's positively contributing to that pack and then Payne comes in and can be the guy, it'll free him up to have a lot more freedom and not have the weight of expectation that might be weighing him down that we saw at the Titans, because he kind of went to the Tigers and it was like, well, this guy's going to be the guy. Like, he's going to lead this pack. And that's right, the Titans. And it just never really eventuated.
He just didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Yeah, and there was a couple of false dawns, but I hope for his sake, and obviously for Queensland's sake, if he's playing good football, he's playing for the Maroons. So that I totally agree.
So selfishly, we want him to do well.
Yeah, I'd love him to do well.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful for everyone involved. So, boys, there are our predictions. That's going to wrap up our NRL review. A little bit of housekeeping for us over the next week or so. We are going to do a full version of this for the AFL on Sunday after the Lions game. They play the Dogs at the Gabba on Saturday night, which we'll be heading along to and making a little bit of content around as well.
I was going to say there might be a little bit of content coming out from that.
Yep. If you like food reviews, stay tuned. That's going to wrap up the NRL. Obviously, we're going to also put some of our predictions out on socials so people can see them, and you can put your own on the social pages as well. We're going to do a quick little fire round. We've got the AFL coming up. Before we chat on Sunday after the Lions game, there is going to be a round of football and some games on Sunday as well. So I'm going to go through the games and I'm going to ask for you boys tips. On Thursday night, we've got the Swans against Carlton. Now, we'll go through these games in a bit more depth on Sunday, so it's just going to be hot fire. I'll go Angus, Harry, and then I will finish each tip. Sydney versus Carlton at the SCG, Thursday night, 6:30. Gus, who are you going with?
Sydney.
Harry?
I've got Carlton.
Wow. The Blue Baggers.
Bold prediction coming out.
Jagger Smith, first game, 30
Love
plus.
Love that.
Nick Newman out.
Beating 2 of the grand final teams, and they are going to down the Swans.
Love it. I'm going to go Sydney. I think Charlie Curnow is going to kick a bag against his former team and send Carlton fans into a depressive meltdown, which I would love to see. Friday night on the Goldie, we've got the Gold Coast versus Geelong. Gus?
I'm going Gold Coast because there are some looming injuries around Geelong, isn't there, at the moment? Yeah, so I'm going Gold Coast.
No, Bailey
and they're
Smith
hot.
and Jeremy Cameron cleared to play.
Oh, I mean, I'm still going Gold Coast.
Love that.
Just because I hope Geelong lose.
Yeah. Harry?
I can hear the trumpet sounding. Big crowd at the Gold Coast, and they are going to down Geelong.
Wow. I also actually have tipped the Gold Coast there. I think that Geelong, they can start seasons a little bit slow.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to go with the Gold Coast. I just feel like they're going to be up for it. They got touched up a little bit by the Lions in their first game the other day. So I'm going to go with them. We move on to Saturday twilight. We've got the Giants and the Hawks in Sydney at the Showground. Gus, who are you going with?
I'm going Hawks, but I'm not sure about that one.
Tough one, that one.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah,
probably. I think that's probably the hardest game of the round. I think that's the hardest game of the round.
Oh, big time! Oliver's first game at GWS.
Yes, what might play a more inside role than it was originally planned because of Tom Green doing his ACL. So if he's had a big preseason, we could really see Clayton Oliver go back to All-Australian levels, which would be nice to see.
Yep.
So
I'm going Hawks. Going Hawks, but I'm not sure. I'm not sold on that yet.
Yep. Love that. Harry?
I am going Hawks because I don't rate the Giants one bit. Their best player has done their ACL, and they are an aging list.
Yep. I'm actually going to go the Giants. I feel like Hawthorn, similar to what we saw last year, they took a little while to get going. They got touched up the other night in their preseason game by
the Dogs.
And the Dogs look slick, and the Dogs are good at peaking early. I just think Hawthorn, they may have another slow start to the year. They've started the last 2 years slow, 2024 when they went on that hot run, and they were the hot young thang of the league. They lost their first 5 and then beat North at Marvel. Last year they had a slow start as well. So I'm going to go the Giants. I know Aaron Cadman's missing out with pelvic soreness, but I feel like with who they've got in their forward line, if they're firing, Brent Daniels also missing, but I feel like I'd be more concerned about Tom Green missing if they hadn't have picked up Clayton Oliver. And they've got a really good back line as well. Big Sammy Taylor's probably the second best key defender in the league. So I'm going to go with them. I think they're primed for a scalp. They also, depending on how hot it is in Sydney, last year they played Collingwood in in the opening round there and absolutely touched them up. So I'm going to go with the Giants. Now, this one, do we need to go through this game, Brisbane versus the Bulldogs?
I almost think we can skip it, but I just want to talk about the Lions for a little bit. So
we'll do a big review of this from Saturday night in depth, regardless of the result. So
you'll get quite the review. I am obviously tipping Lions. I really, really am liking the look of them at the moment. Which 2 back-to-backs would say that? And I'm so excited for this game.
I am tipping Lions, but I could see a loss. We're unfurling the flag. It's all a bit, look at us. Bulldogs are going to be hitting the ground running.
We also remember what happened against West Coast.
Sam Darcy.
The first bit last year.
We've got Sam Darcy. They've got a great list. They're coming off just missing finals after having a great year. But we're the best team by so far. So I back us to get the job done.
I'd actually totally forgot, Harry, that we're going to unfurl the flag on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to the game even more. That
lovely
had
little
not
treat
even occurred to me. Obviously, Brisbane. I don't even need to say it, but I think it's very rare that a 2-time reigning premier goes into their 3rd year and gets better with their list. Last year felt like a stopgap with Sam Day in there, as you know,
the baseballer.
And obviously you bring Oscar Allen in. He's had a full preseason. I know Sam Draper's not playing, but Darcy Fort showed last year just exactly what he can do when he's the number 1 ruck.
Sorry, Mr. Jack's getting into some parking work
he wants
there.
To say. What I will say, and we'll go into further depth on this on Sunday, is last year we won the flag from where we did from 5th and went the hard way in 2024. Last year they threw the hardest draw we've ever seen a premier get. And this year we got much easier. It's actually crazy. I don't know what the AFL's doing, but we'll take it. So
absolutely we will.
We won't
very
complain.
much looking forward to going really in depth and sinking our teeth into a Lions preview, review, and going into the AFL. But I think them and moving on, the last game Sunday night, St Kilda versus Collingwood. Gus, who have we got there?
This might be the year of St Kilda. So I'm going St Kilda. I really hope they can knock off the Pies. So I'm going St Kilda.
Love that. Harry?
I don't think it's so much of the year of the year of the Saints. I think it's the non-year of the Pies. They are going to be terrible. They are old, and you don't need to convince me much to tip against them. So I think St Kilda are going to win.
Nice. I'm wary of writing Collingwood off. What I will say is they may start the year really hot like they did last year, and they might run out of steam. It's just the inevitable, similar to what we said about the Roosters. And I think, Harry, you touched on it there. They are old. And at some point, it comes to a cliff. At some point, you can't run back the aging team and not really. They haven't got much draft capital, which means they haven't really improved. And they haven't got that good of a draft hand, and they've had to be creative in the trade market. I just think that at some point, the cliff's got to come. And if it's not this year, it might be next year. But I just can't see it. I mean, we saw it come back to bite them in the prelim where Scott Pendlebury goes off with a calf in the first few minutes, and the Lions run over the top of them.
But at the same time, it's Collingwood, and you're like, oh, they got something out of the bag.
I think we've seen the drop. I think we saw the drop after the bye last year where they
the back end.
And I think we've seen the drop. I don't think there's any drop to come.
Yep. Look,
hopefully there's further drop to come.
I'm going to go Collingwood. I'm not convinced by St Kilda and all the money that they've spent. They've obviously got some great players. Nasai Wanganeen-Miller himself is... he's unbelievable, one of the best talents in the league, and they have made some really good acquisitions, but can it all gel? Will it take time at AFL level? They did touch up the Suns in a match simulation, so I am going to go Collingwood. It's a tough one to pick, so I am going to go Collingwood there. I just don't believe. I guess I don't believe in St Kilda enough, and I'm not as doubtful about Collingwood. So somewhere in the middle, I'd go St Kilda.
Just for some context, sitting on second half of last year went 6 from 9. They lost 6 from 9.
Is that including the finals?
Including the finals.
I like that little stat, Harry. Thanks for that. But look, I'm sitting on the fence, and I'll much rather swing a leg over St Kilda's side than swing a leg over Collingwood's side.
And you've always said that.
And that's something I've always said.
So we're going to go more in depth on the AFL on Sunday. That'll be for episode 3. Boys, I don't think there's anything left to touch on. I think we've gone really in depth on the NRL and Jed's experience and very much previewed the AFL to come this weekend and given our tips. I guess a last bit to the floor before we go. I would like to say a massive thank you to everyone that's reached out after the first episode on the golf green. We were really proud of the product we put out, not only of the podcast, obviously, but also the green and the work and the story that was there to be told. And we've gotten so much love back on the podcast. I mean, lots of people have been enjoying it wherever they've been getting it, whether that be YouTube or whether that be listening on their way to work, and it brightening people's day. So we're so thankful. We've got so much more to come from us. I'll open it up to you boys if you want to say anything, RE, the first episode.
Yeah, mate, the response was unbelievable. Like, just having mates texting you going that they were loving it and stuff like that. I was like, that is awesome. Even Nudo sending me snaps of him listening to it in the car and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. Thank you very much to everyone that tuned into the first episode. Hopefully the first of many. I thoroughly enjoy making it with you fellas. So that's one thing I took out of that first podcast we did is how much fun I actually had.
Yeah, it's good to just yarn for an hour.
Yeah.
Just chat with you fellas.
Nudo said to me, he said, I felt like I was sitting on the veranda having a beer with you. I said, well, we were having a Pepsi Max, mate. There was no
having
beers,
a tinny.
Yeah, none of that. I think one thing also, if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to it, I would actually encourage you to watch the YouTube video because we've put a heap of stuff through it, a heap of updates so that when we're talking about a certain topic, we've got that there. I also think I might upload that to Spotify. So if you want to watch it on Spotify, you can. There's also an Instagram Reel, YouTube Short, and TikTok out that is a shortened version of a video that Angus made, just documenting the process of where we came from and what we did and some of the silly things we did the whole way up to Christmas in more of a video format that's a little bit easier for people to digest. Because one of the things I did get was a lot of people were like, I was sitting there listening to it or lying in bed or driving, listening to it, and I was sitting there going, I just need a visual to work out what was it that these boys were doing So we're so thankful for everything and all the support, and there's going to be plenty more coming.
Well, go and have a look at the reel. The reel's out at the moment. It will definitely be out by the time you listen to this. But go and watch it. It's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I'd recommend having a look at it on Instagram because that's where the original audio is, and it is hilarious.
For sure. So that's going to be it from us. We hope you have enjoyed this listen. We're very thankful for you joining us. We'll be out with another podcast probably early next week, re this kind of format, but to the AFL, and then we'll really hit our stride with weekly podcasts recapping things we've been up to and the wider world of sport and the things that we are doing. There's plenty more to come. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and share with your friends if you feel like they would be interested. Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure to once again be hosting the Talk of the Town podcast with you.
It's been unreal. So much fun. I love it.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks to everyone that's getting around us. It's really nice.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.
Bye.
See ya.